films in this country become much more, well, they become more successful, and there's a lot more activity going on here, and then because of that, I think British actors get noticed more in America, and Americans are more inclined to say, yeah, that if someone suggests a British actor, they don't actually vomit, on the floor the way they might once have done. They kind of think British equals maybe quite successful, equals ka-ching, ka-ching, to put it crudely. I don't mean any disrespect to any prospective employers, obviously. I was actually making Maybe Baby at the time, and the producer turned up in a lunch hour, and we were supposed to have an hour talking about, the character, and in actual fact they got held up in a bomb scare at the BBC. We were filming at the BBC, and they weren't allowed out of the building, so we ended up only having 5 minutes. So this guy ran in and went, "The dancing, can you do it?" And normally I would have gone through that whole English thing of saying, well, I obviously wouldn't say that I should, but there wasn't time for that, so I just went, yeah, I can do that, yeah. Well, dancing, yeah, fine. If you want any horse riding, pottery, archery, any of that, I can do all of that too. I just thought it's going to be quicker if I just lie. Lies are normally quicker; they save a lot of time. So I said, yes, I can. Samba dancing, no problem. No, I'm not even having the faintest idea what it was. In fact, in the first instance, I thought it was salsa dancing. I even got confused about that. I made the terrible mistake of reading the script, and I came across this line saying he's actually quite good. When he dances, he's transformed into this sexy man. And I don't normally read stage directions. I normally just read dialogue. But I went back over and thought, oh, hello, problem. Transformed into sexy man when dancing samba. Stunt. It must be a stunt man, surely. But they said, no, you've got to do this. And I went to lessons. Went to lessons on samba dancing and lessons on how to be sexy. The script is very charming. It's funny and very... it's very sweet. It's about a very sweet character, sort of innocent guy. And it was a very charming script. I was very taken by it, and also, of course, taken by the chance to go to Brazil, which doesn't come often in a man's life. And I never really thought of going to Brazil. In fact, South America, it just sort of wasn't on my list somehow. I'd always looked east, Africa and India and China and things. I always thought, but Brazil, never thought of it. And then you get this chance to go there, this exciting city. And you'd be a fool to turn it down, don't you think, viewers? Rio was... No, it took a while. It takes a week or two. But then all sort of really interesting cities do take a week or two, I think. You arrive and you think, well, it's just a lot of shoe shops and banks, and it looks like any other city, And you have to sort of look behind doors to find the real thing. But the great thing is when you're working there, instead of just visiting as a tourist, you have... you feel like you're sort of slightly more plugged in than if you're just gawping around the place with a camera. It's a great privilege to be able to go somewhere and immediately work, because work is the way into places. That's how you meet people and really get to know people quickly. Because you don't hang around. There's no small talk. You're straight away discussing your inside leg measurement with a woman you didn't know 2 minutes before. But no, it's a very glamorous and exciting city. And when I was flying there, actually, as I was sitting on the plane, I was thinking, well, we're going to make a film, and it's all a bit of a jolly, this, it's just a made-up story. But of course, Rio is a city that's full of people who've done this for real. I mean, it is a great, a genuine escape for. I think that the more Protestant souls among us would go for the Foreign Legion. But if you can't stand that and you don't want your hair cut short, you'd go to Rio, and it's a place where people do go and reinvent themselves, and they might rob a bank to do it, or they may very well have done terrible things to do it. But it does happen. I play a character called Raymond, who's a very innocent, sweet-natured character who has a miserable life, has a grey job in a grey institution. And has a pretty grey marriage too, an unhappy marriage. Pretty early on in the film, he discovers that his wife is having an affair with his boss, so the two unhappy aspects of his life sort of collide and make one big unhappy aspect. The abiding passion in Raymond's life, the thing that's kept him warm all these years, is his love of samba dancing. It's his one sort of exotic facet. So his only method of escape, the only way of righting these wrongs in his life, is to push off to Rio and dance in the carnival with the girl of his dreams. It is my firm belief that men should not dance. They just should not dance. No man should dance. And people say, oh, but what about Gene Kelly? Well, yeah, right. You know, he got away with it, and Fred Astaire was sort of okay, made it less embarrassing than it might otherwise have been. But basically, it's not a thing that men should do. Men should sit at the bar, watch other people dance, and then drive them home. That's how we're designed. And I don't mean... I think men look good doing other things. You know, a good front foot cover drive, say, or playing football, you know, they can look very good doing that. But dancing is just not... All men look ridiculous dancing. It just happens to be my opinion. If your physical confidence ever needs a bit of a knocking, if you ever get up in the morning and start feeling a bit cocky about yourself, may I suggest that you stand in front of a broad mirror at the Pineapple Dance Studios between two professional Brazilian dancers. Because that's going to do it. That will knock you down a peg or two. And you stand there looking like a man falling downstairs. Like that. And they just look so... No, do this with your hips. Hips, yes. Let me say, I am English. We do not actually have hips in the sense that you understand the word. It's very, very peculiar. It's very nice of Vanessa to say that I can... But she's a very generous woman. And she's been kind. I think that's the best way I can say it. She's been kind. In Rio, there are these different samba schools, which are very, in many ways, very like football clubs. Actually, they have their own supporters who carry the colours, and they inspire fierce loyalty, and they compete in these samba competitions. And I went to one of these things, and yeah, I got up there. It was like the scene from the film. I actually was called into the ring, and I had to dance. Just me again. They would bring in a succession of women I had to dance against. And yes, it is dancing against. It's kind of a martial art, really. I saw off 7 of them before they pulled me out. It was a pretty bloody night, actually. I don't think I've ever been as frightened as the first day we shot a dance sequence in front of 500 professional Brazilian dancers, drummers and musicians and singers and dancers. That was a very, very, very bad day. I got quite drunk. I was going to say I'm not ashamed to admit, actually I am a bit ashamed, because that's cheap. Beer is cheap, very cheap in Brazil. It does deliver some cracking good music. It's a shame about the gawky English guy in the middle, stumbling about, as if someone's just whacked his shins with a cricket bat. But apart from that, you know, it's very, I think it will be, the music is really, it's cracking good, yeah.